Or I am in Alien Interactions with Ferdinand Rock. Podcast.
My invisible alien friend.
Hey, this is a vine that I put up here a number of years ago, and it grows like crazy. It just bloomed. You can still see some of the beautiful blooms, and it has a wonderful smell. It's a kind of jasmine. But I need to see these really long ones. I really need to cut them back.
Oh, I love your gardening. Your garden, it's so beautiful, Joan.
Well, I worked as a gardener for years, and just last year, I kind of became retired just because my boss decided to stop her company to retire herself. I still have a few jobs I do, but I love working in my garden, and it's just so, it's so wonderful to be outside, and we're so lucky to live in an area that, we can actually have such a beautiful garden, even though we're in a city. We're very, very lucky. So anyway, I'm just trying to cut back some of these really long ones, and especially since they go over the fence to the neighbors. As I said, this has been blooming, and now you can see it falling down. All these things are just so wonderful to and inspiring to witness here.
Oh, I bet you got a lot of ideas for dance and performances. While you're doing gardening.
Well, I do, but I think the main thing for me is the body getting close to the earth, but also feeling the changes in the weather. How it gets darker, it gets lighter, it gets cooler, it gets hotter. So you become like, I say, I'm like a weather vane, kind of, I can feel all those changes.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always been, not only do I enjoy being outside, I call myself an outside animal. Mm-hmm. But it's also, I feel very good, you could say training in a way for my butoh, for my art.
This is very present in a lot of butoh masters. They also have this very close connection with nature, working on farms and doing gardening in Japan.
You're probably talking mostly about Min Tanaka, who doesn't necessarily really call himself butoh, but he's been associated with butoh for many years, because years ago he called himself a farmer or dancer. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he still has his farm or not. And that farm that I was at a couple of times was fantastic, and he had an incredible festival that went on for about a week.
Tolga, right? Is the name of the farm?
Oh, the name of the farm, I think it's...
Anyway, it's...
I don't remember. I might be Hakushu or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just maybe a couple hours, or I don't know if he still has it, but it was a couple hours outside of Tokyo. Mm-hmm. And it was quite a journey to get there, taking the train and finding your way there. Yeah, I did a little bit of training. As a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting because in the summer he had a long training there, and I wanted to do it, and I'd signed up for it. In the end, I could only do it for about a week because a guy who lived in Taiwan, saw me performing in Ashikawa's group and invited me to come and create a piece on the students there, or on dancers there. So that was my first time of actually creating a piece. A big piece was in Taipei, which is kind of interesting. Since then, of course, since that time, many places in Asia and, of course, other countries have had, growing butoh interest and a lot of different people coming there. As a matter of fact, I'm happy to say that I'm going to be going to Singapore to do a workshop and teach some. When was that? That's going to be in November. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm just really happy whether I can actually go to these places or not. Just to meet people even online is just so wonderful to kind of get a sense of the whole, the global community and their
That's
journeys.
amazing.
So one of the things, everything growing so crazily, but also I think over here we have some problem with slugs or something. So what I'm trying to do is just any of the leaves that look like they really got chewed too much here, I'm just cutting them back. I'm not sure if we're ever really going to be able to eat very much of this kale here. The Swiss chard we have a little better luck with, but as you can see, it's getting eaten quite a lot here.
But it's still looking yummy.
Yeah, there's still some, or sometimes I just kind of, there's some bird song. How nice. That's nice, yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's kind of what I try to do to keep up with the...
What about the soil? Do you have any special techniques to deal with the soil?
So the thing is, these beds are really quite new, 2 or 3 years old, and we put a lot of new soil in them, so things are growing well. But for some reason, they stay pretty dry. So if you put your finger in it, you can see even down there, it's barely wet.
Yeah.
So when you water, you have to, I think the best thing is to water some, then come back and water again. Otherwise, you just see the water kind of sitting on top. And I kind of think that, when soil gets really dry, it's hard to get it wet again. So that's something to work on here.
I have to say, it looking fantastic and very yummy. What do you have here that is eatable?
Oh yeah. Well, we've got several kinds of lettuce. We probably need to pick that. The kale, not looking so great.
Delicious.
This is the Swiss chard. These are little peppers. That's nasturtium, just some flowers. And here we have some bush beans that are really starting to come. And we have squash, zucchini in here. Unfortunately, some of these look like they didn't bloom, but we'll see. You can see big blooms over there. And right behind here were really tall. There were 4 artichoke plants. They were huge in this bed. And we ate about 40 artichokes this year.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy, but it's all cut down now. So. And
do you only eat what you plant, or?
Oh, I wish, but that would be a little limiting. And, David really likes to cook a lot of different things. But I eat salad every day. I'm a total salad person. So, but, once things start coming, then you eat a lot of stuff. Beans, chard, etc. So, and then tomatoes, there's some coming.
Yeah.
So last summer I was invited to go to Mexico, for butoh activities for 7 weeks. And when I came back, I left on June 1st. When I came back, these plants were like this. I had planted potatoes. It was huge. The potato plants were all over the place. So, we'll see how fast they grow this year.
Yes. Let's keep talking about your career and your experience. I know you have so much to share. And we would love to listen to your stories and know more about what you have coming, and everything that people that you met, and all these stories, and remembering how we connect. I remember that place. The first time I was here in 2010.
Well, actually, I'm trying to think because we came back from Korea after 2 years in Poland. We were 2 years in Korea. So we were probably living upstairs, I think.
Yeah.
And the tenant downstairs. So we changed about 4 or 5 years ago. But the thing about out here is that during the time of the pandemic, I was just really wanting to have performances and be able to share with people. So I started having, I call home stage, here in the garden.
In here?
Yeah, and musicians up here, and the performers, are all over the garden. And then also over here, there's on the wall, you can't quite see it, but there's a painting that someone drew of me, or painted of me. But we, on August 7th, we'll have our home stage this summer. We've got, I think, 6 musicians, 4 dancers, and 2 poets. So, and it's just wonderful. The light keeps changing, the
August 7th.
Yeah.
I will be here.
Yeah, I hope so. different photos from the background, and but I think and that's one of the earliest butoh festivals that I put on. But I think the most fun thing here in a way is, there used to be 2 newspapers here, and that's me, and that's in our home. Actually, we call it intimate stage in the dining area. So we did that every month for 3 years.
Wow.
We called it intimate stage. Yeah.
This is Seattle Post.
The Seattle. Oh yeah, the Post Intelligencer. That was called. Yeah. So yeah, it's too bad we lost that. But anyway, that was really great because I wanted to, I performed, I did old pieces, I did new pieces, I invited people, some Japanese people coming through performed, and I really wanted to offer a space for people, and I wanted to be able to pay people something. So the audience would pay, we had up to 35 people, and they would pay $10, $12, which would go to the performers. And after the performance, sometimes I'd show a video of Kazuo Ono or somebody, and we spread out food and drinks. So I kind of call it a performance party in a way, or a party with a purpose, so people could enjoy a performance and then meet and greet each other and enjoy some good food. So,
is that you on top?
Yes, that's Kimochi, a piece called Kimochi, which started as a solo. But I think what's maybe more important is the one on the left. That's me in Taiwan in a piece called 4 Seasons in the Rock Garden. And I was telling you that when I was performing in Ashikawa's company in Tokyo, that guy from Taipei saw me and invited me. So there I am performing in Taipei in that first group piece I ever created.
Wow, wonderful. It's history in every wall.
Oh yeah, and I was in Papua New Guinea when I lived in New Zealand.
Can you get this?
And spent time in Indonesia. I had studied some Indonesian dance in California and Indian dance. But so some of these are, and then later David and I got some things about Papua New Guinea. These are from Papua New Guinea when I went there. And of course, New Zealand. I lived in New Zealand and taught at a university. And this, hopefully it isn't a poison spear, but this is from Papua New Guinea. And then you have the frame, the glass broke, but that's Kazuo Ono. So yeah, this house has a lot of history here.
Kazuo Ono performing here?
No. Well, in Seattle, yes, yeah. So Kazuo Sensei was my first teacher in Yokohama, where he lived. But he was here a couple times, the Yoshito, and when you come in here, you'll see some photos of him. So this one was a local photographer, it's kind of dark here, who took that, and she said she knew I was going back to Japan. She said, will you get him to autograph it? And I said, sure, as long as I can have one. However, he was already having a little trouble, at his mind, and so Yoshito-san kept saying, oh, Kazuo, sign it again, But here's a photo that I took of Kazuo at Mintanaka's farm. I love that, and very typical, the different kind of costuming that Kazuo Ono would. And here's one that he or Yoshito gave me. It's really kind of cool. This one's quite dark, but it's the only photo I have of Ashikawa. Somehow I managed to get a hold of that. These are kind of quintessential, old butoh postcards. And then Sue-In, who is in the company, she's from Sweden. I danced with her. This is actually when we got married, a friend of ours, an artist friend, painted this.
That's beautiful.
And up here, just some various photo shoots and different things. Then just recently, a friend's partner who has a big gallery in Portland gave me this really cool old photograph of, I think it's a kabuki actor. And then I just kind of reinstated our Japanese, the dolls and various things and put them here. This is very old piece from the 90s called Black Widow that I have resurrected many times, including recently for the Portland Butoh Festival.
Oh, wow.
So that is from the
was
90s, like early 90s. It's like, what's that? 20, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I
Yeah.
love to redo. Yeah, it's so interesting to actually, it was a bit different. The structure of the choreography wasn't so different, but of course, as I've been working for so many years in this, genre, it was deeper and richer,
So you made me curious. Do you have notations of your choreographies? How do you brought back your old choreography?
It's all in here.
It's all?
Pretty much.
Wow.
I mean, I do make some notes, but I don't really make a lot. I'll have a few notes, but it's mostly image based. And this piece, for example, is about 35 minutes long or so. And in that, some pieces have a lot of images, but this not so many, because it's really about the spider, the Black Widow spider, and about the very rich woman. It's about the female devouring the male, basically. So there are not a lot of different images, and just kind of, I love to call it a slow burn, because it's just I get deeper and deeper into it, and the ending is quite shocking for people. I won't give away the ending, but yeah. And
I wish I could.
And the beautiful thing is that this Black Widow piece, I don't remember, it's like about 12, 15 years ago, somebody put together a butoh kind of conference symposium in LA at the university, and I was chosen as the American butoh person. The other person was Katsura-kan, who kind of helped put it together, who's like more Kyoto area, and Akaji Maro from Dairakudakan, very early, person. Actually, the first company I saw in Tokyo was Dairakudakan's company, and it was the three of us who got to perform on the stage together. So that was a highlight of my career.
Oh my God! And you're so well deserved. You were a national treasure, Joan. You are. Yes, you are. You were a pioneer in America with this kind of performances and the dance, the butoh. And I'm so happy that you're getting the recognitions that you deserve.
Yeah,
right?
more.
More and more.
I just look at it as opportunities to share what I do. Because me in a vacuum. That's like.
You're a reference internationally. I got to know you when I was in Brazil. We tried to brought you to Brazil. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. For problems with sponsorship and things but we tried, because we used to organize a festival in there, and we were very excited to have an American butoh dancer, and you are the reference internationally, so much so that annually you go to Europe, you tour every year outside the States, right?
Yeah, even not really big tours, but I might perform for 20 people. I might perform for 150. It just depends. These collaborations that I do in southern Germany, we always have really full audiences, but that means like 75 to 100 a night. But I've been, people really know me in Europe quite a lot, and I'm getting some more opportunities. But more recently in the United States, which I'm happy about, because it's kind of crazy that I have to go. I love going to Europe, but But so recently in the winter, or I'm trying to remember it now, I went to Colorado, and then I went to Chicago to mount my Earth Tomes project, which has quite a long history, and it has been done with local performers in Oslo, in Norway, and in Germany, and Liverpool, and London, and Warsaw, and many different places, and also upstate New York. So I'm very passionate about that. That Earth Tome is really about celebrating the earth. Really kind of folds in my whole experience of working in the gardens. So
that's amazing, amazing. As we're looking around in a crowded room, a new city, or even your own life, and realize you don't fit the blueprint? Like you're speaking a language everyone hears, but nobody actually understands. We've all been there. Made to feel like an outsider, the otherness in a world that demands quick assimilation. That is exactly why you need to click the link below right now to claim your spot on the VIP launch list. My name is Fernando Rock, and my upcoming book is my memoir as Fernando Rocha, my legal alter ego. Alien They Made Me is a non-fiction memoir with a surreal cinematic twist. In the raw, unfiltered story of navigating cultural borders, dismantling systemic boxes, and surviving the absurd, comedy, adventurous, sometimes dramatic, and even tragic cross-realities of the American dream. If you're a reader who craves deep, boundary-pushing non-fiction and hybrid narratives that read like an indie movie, head over to our landing page immediately to secure your VIP status. We are launching this Kickstarter campaign to bring this book to life entirely independently, creating a stunning premium edition you won't find anywhere else. But the journey starts before day one. By joining our inner circle today, you get exclusive launch discounts, early access to limited edition rewards, and a front row seat to the creative process. Don't wait for the crown. Drop your email in the link below this video to become a VIP before the launch. This isn't just a book launch, it's a community for anyone who ever refused to blend in on systemic oppressive social conventions or narrow-minded or sometimes even cynical dehumanizing mindsets. The countdown has officially begun, and the VIP list closes soon. Take your place at the table, back an authentic new voice, and click the link right now to subscribe, join the campaign, and secure your exclusive VIP rewards. So, John, you show us a picture of Ashikawa and some incredible pictures of Kazuo Ono. Can you share with us, like, with our listeners, how was your experience back in Tokyo when you got trained by them? Was your first contact with butoh, or have you ever heard or practiced butoh before you went to Japan?
Yeah, well, actually, people ask about my life, and I say, young people say, well, you have time, you can do these, you can go these places, do these things. But I was living in Hong Kong, and I was a contemporary dancer, and I saw because a lot of people wanted to promote their work and come to Hong Kong at the time. We're talking about 82. And they would send their promotional material. And I saw a picture of Akajimaro, the leader of Dairakudakan, and I didn't see butoh, but I thought, oh, that picture looks interesting. It was just him, a shaved head, in a studio or something. And so I got a job at this teaching on semester at sea program, which went around the world in 3 months. I mean, I've had amazing opportunities, really. So that was my first time in Japan in 82. And at that time, there was no romaji. In other words, for a foreigner, you had to memorize the characters, the kanji characters. Mm-hmm. There was nothing in English or English letters or anything. Mm-hmm. Somehow, I managed to find a performance. I was only there 5 days in Tokyo. I managed to find a performance of Dairakudakan. And that opened my whole world to butoh. So that was my first experience. And then I came back a couple years later and spent a couple months. And that was maybe the first time I had a contact with Kazuo Ono, a woman who did some research and actually probably wrote the first master's thesis on butoh, and she knew Kazuo Sensei. at that time, you had to be introduced. It was kind of hard to find it in Yokohama, but someone had to take you to it. You didn't just show up, Mm-hmm. So she introduced to me. Her name was Susan Klein. And then later, I met Yoshito, but later Yoshito started teaching, but Kazuo Sensei was more my own teacher. And as I was doing dissertation research, I started taking workshops with different people, and I saw a lot of performances, but I took a workshop with Ashikawa. It was for a year, once a month, very intense, like 8 hours of live music and hardly any translation. And at the end of the year, she gathered people together, and she said, the students had said she wanted to start a second company. So that was kind of my beginning of really immersing myself as a performer.
After this initiation, what keeps you connected to butoh throughout the years? Like, what got your interest and your passion for this kind of movement? Because I know you have a PhD in movement from Texas University, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Texas Women's University.
Texas Women's University. So you have all this academic background, studying the movements, and then you found this expression in Asia, in Japan, and you choose as your main format of expression, right? As a performer. So I think what I'm trying to ask is, what makes this deep connection from an American dancer and a researcher of movement to a Japanese form and philosophy of movement so deeply meaningful for you?
Well, I think there are a lot of things I could think about. First of all, I was interested in going to Japan many, many years. When I was younger, my father worked for a company that had like international business, and some friends of our family lived in Japan. And I don't know, when I was maybe a later teenager, I was always interested. I didn't know why, but I was interested because I don't come from a background where I really knew much about any culture. I studied Spanish in high school or in school, but so that's one thing. And then what happened is when I was like maybe not master so much, but the PhD especially, it's very common for PhD students or higher up in university to go to conferences. Mm-hmm. So I went to Korea, did presentation in Hong Kong, different places. And I started seeing more contemporary dance from other cultures, especially Asian, like Korean, for example. Mm-hmm. And I looked at it and I said, okay, so how do you find it from some of these cultures, that have long traditions, a long history of dance and theater, and so do you take on from, in this case, a Western culture, the United States, or perhaps Germany, or how do you find it? Or if you're a traditional dancer, come from that background, how do you find yourself, in a contemporary world? I'd kind of been looking since like 78. There was a conference in Hawaii called something like Traditional Dance in the 20th Century. And I've kind of been thinking about that a lot, How can you find something that's yours, When I saw Daiwa Kodokan, I went, yep, someone found something. So that was actually about 4 years after I'd been to that conference. And I thought, yeah, and the thing about it is, what really interests me so much is that it's very contemporary. It can embrace any kind of music or costume or idea or image, and yet it's coming from the Japanese sensibility. It has that sense of ancestors and roots. So it's kind of like everything, kind of all those possibilities. So that's kind of how I got involved in researching it more specifically, rather than just modern dance or contemporary dance in Japan. But it wasn't until so I started taking classes thinking that if I take workshops that I can use my body as a research tool, which is kind of very interesting, you know. And then when Ashikawa asked some of us, you know, if we'd like to be part of this new group, and I did, and I was only there for about 3 months before I went back to the States to work on my dissertation, but that was kind of the turning point. And I think the interesting thing too is when I was in the University of Colorado in my beginning, you know, contemporary dance career or experience, I think one of the first dances I created was from inspired by the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And I was using like mudras or kind of, you know, gestures. So, and I had taken Indian dance. So I kind of, you know, had some interest in images in some way. So I found myself very at home and very at home with nature images. As a child, I grew up a lot in nature. So then I think just it became like the butoh or the way, the path, which it just deepens. Yeah.
Speaking of putting your body as a research tool, do you think you embrace all these cultures with your body when you move and when you dance in some way? Do you feel like, are you dancing your own story or the entire, you know, all these other bodies that you met and you put yourself in contact with, literally putting your body in other places, in other countries, and, you know, in this in-between place that is not where you live, and it's a place that you're visiting, but you're putting yourself entirely in performance and doing your dance. So do you think in some way how your body embody all these different cultures and images of all other cultures? Speaking as an American person as well, that, you know, is putting yourself in different contexts and in different images, that it's very for the Western perspective is butoh. It's a bit bizarre. It's grotesque. This is part of the art, right? Of the butoh art, to work in this subliminal place.
Well, I think this is the thing, subliminal space. I mean, you know, first of all, I had studied Indian dance in India with probably the most well-known teacher, performer. I had studied some Indonesian dance. I have a background in, you know, music. So I really got into world culture and world music when I moved to Berkeley to go to the Center for World Music in about 74, I think it was. So, you know, by the time I met butoh, I really was very kind of familiar with, you know, a lot of, and I love language. Language was my first major and minor, but I think it's like, you know, first of all, I believe in like primal memory or whatever. You know, I think in our cells, we all hold that. We're carrying that. We're carriers. And also because for butoh, I think the quintessential body is the fetus, the body, you know. So I always say to people, well, everybody is born, no matter how that experience was, and as an infant, we're all much more alike. And we all go through, although maybe not exactly the same, we all go through the developmental patterning, you know, of our body, and going from ourselves, you know, to out into the world and crawling and then standing and running, you know. So this whole developmental sense, we all have that experience. So, you know, this is and I'm very interested in nature and nurture, you know. How much of us is nurtured, and how much is nature, and what do we bring when we come in, and what is fed to us, and what have we taken on. So I think it's kind of hard to limit yourself to say, oh, I was born here in this situation and this, because my growing up, other than being in nature a lot, I had a wonderful childhood and a lot of freedom, but there's nothing that kind of indicated that I would go out in the world like I have. I didn't, very kind of small community kind of thing, small school. I went to a very small school when I was a kid. And I think also, I was always, soon I was very interested in traditional dances and theater as well as contemporary. So my interest is very, very open in that way. And I think that I always think about the beginner's mind. There's a lot of Zen, archery and Zen, or, the beginner's mind, how I first experienced that, or so to speak, when I studied in Berkeley, I studied Tai Chi. So I knew I could learn the movement, but that isn't the point. And this is leading me to years ago, I started sensing that it's all about energy. Life is nothing but a change and transformation. And so that's kind of that has nothing to do with any specific culture. It's something that, as a life force, we don't even have to talk about human beings, as a life force, this is the experience. So that is kind of maybe what I work with, and I don't call it a form because it's something like, I can say butoh is a genre, but because it's always shifting and changing. But I think what I work with and in my journey is going deeper into just existence, just very kind of profound but basic sense of being, and before we get burdened with our emotions and all our worries, in the world, and look at the world now, now it's like just trying to keep your equilibrium from day to day, your own things and the world things, So that's where I feel. So in some ways, I think it's like, what is this experience? I don't even call it dance. It's like more and more I work the internal space and energy and images inside and the elemental body. Water is a big thing in butoh, but I work a lot with breath because it's very basic, something you very easily feel, and you can have an exchange with the inner and outer. So that's what I'm really interested in. I kind of feel, for me, it's like it's the philosophy of the body.
Yes.
So
it's beautiful.
In that way, I think it's not, it's beyond culture, or it's before culture. It's pre-cultural, kind of, you might say. So, and that's something that everybody has the potential to experience. They may or may not, but so that's where my journey keeps leading me deeper and deeper into that.
Speaking of that, these transformations, what would you say for the generation that is born in a time where we are emerging so much in the artificiality and disconnecting from nature so much every day? How do you see the body of the future, or the human expression during these times and in the times that are coming?
Well, I think it's, I don't know, it's hard to say. My world is not very big in a way, but in the world that I'm part of, I'm very much part of the global butoh community, but it's, years ago someone said something, when butoh becomes more well-known and more, and I said, no, I don't ever want it to be, it's not like it's a secret club, but the thing is that I think along the way, there will always be, in this case, maybe younger people, or not necessarily age, but younger in the, like opening up to more experiences, There will always be people, who are curious. But, well, for example, one thing I found from my contemporary dance background is when butoh, it's like different artists have different edges. Sometimes they're very physical and very, violent almost, I used to be a little more like that. But for me, the edge is how humble can I feel? How many how many layers of the onion can I peel off to, I don't know, and to be okay with not knowing, because we really don't know. I mean, I don't think we know. So, like I said, just a sense of pure existence. So it's scary for some people, because I think like a dog, for example, when you're doing your thing, and there's a dog around, the dog doesn't know you are not human. The dog doesn't know who you are. You're an unidentifiable something, object, being or something. And so they're like, so if you enter that state, that is something to, really be able to,
observe,
surrender enough of all the things that, well, you've kind of had to hold on to some things, but that daringness for that, it's interesting. What I'm a little, I don't know, concerned about or not so happy about, maybe, I'm not sure how to say it, is that it's really easy sometimes for people to get into, if they are, more exploratory, more, to get into kind of the shock value of butoh, which can be kind of shocking, or the strangeness of it, without really, in my opinion, appreciating the depth of the kind of what transformation is, So I often say, when we're standing there vertically hanging from the string, that the first word is surrender. It's very, Buddhist underlying, kind of. So I don't know. But I do really like to have, I, as a performer and as a director, I really like experiences in the black box theater or the theater or a space where it's totally controlled and the audience is just like there. And I also love to be a fly on the wall in the Japanese gardens, for example. I think one of the good things about being able to perform in the gardens or these other kind of outdoor things where there's more what I call the found audience. Some people come to see you, but a lot of times whoever's there, it's just, I think what kind of related to what you were saying, what really inspires people, it's like sometimes this one encounter for 1 second, like when we did the Suitcases project at Snoqualmie, and we did it at Issaquah, and we were there for hours. Someone's driving by, just kind of open the mind a little bit, and be okay with that strangeness, but and maybe some curiosity around it, So I think, I guess, the future, I don't know, but I just have to kind of, a couple of years ago, I said, you're 75, you just gotta, that's it, you just gotta keep going. No choice. That's it, that's my life. I always ask people, sometimes I even say in a workshop, where I'm talking to people, I say, what gift or what gifts do you have to give the world? This is, I think, very important for everybody to kind of, at some point, kind of go, what can I contribute? How can I? It doesn't matter if you impact one person strongly or you just not existing for yourself. What's the point,
Yes. Thank you so much, Joan. Thank you for opening your house, opening your heart, and share a little bit. Let us pick a little bit of your brain, your mind. Yeah. And peel the onion. Yeah. A little bit. Do you want to share anything that is coming up for the audience to know that that is coming? I know you're going to Singapore, and in August you have a performance here in your home.
Well, yeah, actually, So the first thing is on July 26th, which is my birthday.
Oh.
Happen to be, which it'll come and go, I'm sure. But so we have a group of 8 dancers and like 6 or 7 musicians performing in Kubota. So we do the Wandering there. And then I go to Solid Sea Butoh Festival in Port Townsend, where I'll teach a day workshop and do a performance. Then on the 6th in Seattle Japanese Garden, another Wandering and Wondering. Then I'm kind of have a little of a breather before I head to Turkey to teach, and then go to Italy, to this place that I've gone for many years. They're having a 20-year celebration that I'm going to be part of. Then I come back for about 3 weeks or so and head to Japan after so many years, and then end up in Singapore.
You're unstoppable.
Well, I'm just glad to be here now,
Yes,
like I said, after all that time in Mexico, which was wonderful, I'm just glad to be home in the summer.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.